The last 4 weeks have been amazing, and I've realised that you guys are just, I'm going to call you part-time athletes, and it's not a bad thing, it's a compliment. Because I find it amazing that you guys get the results you do, and you work, you have lives, old mate has a business, kids, a wife, you go on a lot of dates apparently that you can't talk about. And I always find, you listen to other podcasts and it always goes back to their upbringing, their families, what they did. And I've realised I know nothing about you guys in terms of what your childhood was like, families and everything like that. So I just want to go back into that a little bit, and let me start. Give me your favourite childhood memory. It doesn't have to be about sport. It can be about anything that comes to your mind. Favourite childhood memory?
Oh, wow. Do you want to go? Or?
Yeah, I can go. My favourite childhood memory would come back to me being on the farm with Dad, out with animals, on the four-wheeler, middle of lambing, just completely free, doing farm work and being out, being physical. Like sunny Southland day, as sunny as it can be. But yeah, that would be my favourite memories, being out on the farm.
So you're brought up on the farm?
Yeah.
Is it true about Kiwis and sheep?
Completely false.
False.
Yeah.
And what were you? So you, was it like a farm with? I was going to say, was it farm with animals?
I'd hope
Like,
so.
was it
So
all the milking cows and shearing and?
So until I was 13, it was a sheep and beef farm. So sheep, cows, there are lambs everywhere in springtime. And then when I was 12 years old, we converted it to dairy farm. And then from 12 until we sold it last year, it was a dairy farm. I worked on it in both iterations. So when it was sheep and beef, I loved it, and that sort of was my childhood. And then I enjoyed it when it was a dairy farm, and I worked on it then too.
So did your parents want you to sort of live that life?
No, not really. I did, like when I was younger, like really, really little, I would have been happy to be a farmer and everything, until I sort of realised the financial side behind it, the life behind it, because there isn't much of a life. You live on the farm, barely get away, and that's just everything. I think there probably would have been a small part of Dad that wanted me to be a farmer and wanted me to take over the farm, but then he also, and we haven't really probably spoken about this usually, but he also wanted me to go and live my life, and he was probably one of the, we talked about it in terms of me going away and not coming back. He's like, you need to go live your life and experience life experiences, move to Australia, be an accountant, or do whatever you want to do. And he didn't want me to get stuck back there. And then, I mean, there was recently the farm got sold, and there was conversations with Dad about whether I would go home and take over the farm. But at the end of the day, yeah, there's not much of a life back there. You're on a farm in the middle of nowhere, and you don't really get away as much.
I love that.
Yeah.
Didn't expect that. Farmer wants a husband. Johnny?
Mine's way more privileged than that. I grew up.
Oh, here we go. I was born in a Rolls Royce.
Yeah. Wow, Katie's born rough and tough. I once went to a farm when I was young.
Your parents would have bought a few.
No, definitely not. I grew up on the Gold Coast for the first 25 years of my life, so there was lots of beach, but I actually played a lot of golf when I was young. From the age of 10. Like, I wanted to be the next Tiger Woods, just the white Tiger Woods. I lived every day at the golf course pretty much. So like, I would do it after school. My parents would drop me off there Saturday, Sunday. I actually in year 10 enrolled in a golf school called Coralbin International School, which is out at, Jesus mate, you're right. At Coralbin, which is out at Jimboomba, which is like the back blocks of Brisbane, for those that don't know. And basically, you know, you spend half of your curriculum playing golf and then half of it doing study. And the school went bankrupt that Christmas, so I actually never went out there. And then from then I quit golf and didn't quit golf, but I slowly faded faded that out of my life. But I was playing off one, and at the age of like 15. That was a huge part of my life back then.
So how does a 10-year-old fall in love with golf?
I don't know. I think anyone that's played golf knows how addictive it is.
All the balls.
Oh, yeah, lots of balls, boss.
They're white balls though, not orange.
Yeah.
Basketballs.
Oh God,
Now, how does the 10-year-old? Do you watch it on television or?
At that stage, so that would have been like Tiger Woods of like 97. So I was born in
different
87.
girlfriends and all
So-
different girls in every state. Did you like that?
Well, that wasn't out at that stage.
Yeah.
So in 97, he won his first Masters. That's when he won like by 12 or 14. And it was like, so it's peak Tiger Woods mania. So for any young kid getting into golf, that was like the moment. And Jason Day and like a lot of the superstars that have come off the back, I used to play golf with him in the Queensland kind of circuit, Australia circuit. So it's pretty easy to fall in love with golf, and it's a pretty safe space for a kid, like where parents can just drop you off. It's like it's all fenced, and they just don't have to give a fuck about you for 6 hours. So
It's a cheap sport too.
very cheap. Well, actually, for a junior, it is cheap.
Is it?
Like junior membership is like a few $100s. I was only looking at it recently because Kelly definitely wouldn't let my kids play golf, but I was looking at it in the hope that she would. And it's like a few $100s. They do take care of juniors in Australia.
So you're one of these guys I know used to be at school that were good at everything. They touched something, they'd get good at everything, but they never mastered anything.
Yeah.
Became like the best.
Yeah, like
Like you triathlon, you showed me all your results, and you send me your results for pretty much everything. Emptying the dishwasher in 8.6 seconds. But you were like triathlon. I mean, because I was, when I was doing triathlon, I started late in my 40s. And
here we go. You're going to go through your results, aren't you?
and I started when I was 42. No, and I started late, and all the guys. It was interesting because Johnny sends me all his results of how good he is, and we actually raced in the same races. He passed me in one of the races with Tim Burkle, and all the guys I used to idolise, fanboy like Frodeno and Burkle. He was one of them.
Interesting.
Yeah, like one of the races, like I'm still working through all the results he sent me because he sent me like spreadsheets and then I'm going through them. And one of them was like Frodeno, who's the god of triathlon. And he was like, Johnny was only 3 minutes behind him in a half Ironman, which is impressive.
I wouldn't say that that's average then.
That's what I'm saying. He
that's
was he was
phenomenal.
a fucking amazing
Yeah.
triathlete. He just,
But never a master of any of them, right? So never made my career off triathlon, never made it playing golf. And I think that's kind of what I was alluding to a few weeks ago, where I've always had that kind of other option in the back of my mind.
plan B.
Plan B.
And that's that Chinese emperor, what's his name, Sanzu or whatever. Do you know that story?
No, you're about to tell us.
I'm going to tell you. So now he goes onto this beach. This is in whenever, 856 BC. With 1,000 troops, he lands there and he's got 10,000 troops ahead of him, and they're all going, "We can't win this war. We can't win this war. We can't win this." And he said, "Turns around." He said, "Turn around." They all turned around, and he burnt all the boats. And they ended up winning this war, and it was one of the greatest wars in Chinese history. It's all about no plan B.
Yeah,
if you have no plan B, you obviously...
Yeah.
You were probably too privileged and you had all these...
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wasn't privileged. Like, my parents sacrificed a lot to put me through. Like, they put me through private school, but they weren't, my dad went bankrupt when I was, 12. Like, so kind of just first year of high school, and they still put me through it. Mum went back to work, then she created her own art gallery, which is now booming, but she started that when she was 60 something. So, like, it's definitely, it didn't have the silver spoon in my mouth, but they gave me everything I could to achieve my dreams.
And there's no way at that age you would have appreciated it, because
No.
none of us ever do.
No.
Until you become a parent. Now I'm going full circle.
Yeah, I was a
And
little
I'm
break.
like, oh, yeah, same.
Yeah.
Like, got everything. My mum worked 5 jobs, foreigner, couldn't speak English, just to give me the best tennis rackets I could play tennis.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've still got it,
Yeah.
Emmerich. Did you tell you about the tennis tournaments I won?
No.
Um,
Can we move on?
Katie, So when we've had Johnny's little story, which was good, I feel like you know what I'm going to talk about because you always segue into it. And I'm like,
You're so
how does he
predictable.
know this? Does he read my mind? When did you have the first foray into sport, being a farm girl? Were you like just chasing sheep and thought, I'm really good at this?
Got to swallow.
That's what she said.
I was competing and riding horses and competing in equestrian from age of probably 5 or 6.
This is so good.
Yeah.
Katie, the equestrian athlete.
Yeah.
Here's me thinking you're a hard ass.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I wasn't doing
Can you send us photos of that later for the podcast?
Sure. And I was doing showing, so I was doing the Ponzi, like look pretty.
Oh, that's
Round on the horse.
something's gone
Which
wrong
is-
in the matrix here.
which is
Katie's doing clean and jerk and then rides home on her horse.
Yeah. So I was competing from a really young age, which probably started that competitive side of me, and that probably is where it really fueled from. And that's a really individual sport. Like it's just you and your horse competing against other people. You're not in a team. So that's probably where it fueled from. And then when I got to high school, I don't know, I sort of dived into just playing every sport that was on offer at a school. I was at a public school that it had every sport. We weren't a master of any. There wasn't one sport that everyone played. You kind of just said yes to doing everything. And I was that sort of person that, and still am, that would say yes to doing all sports. So yeah. So primary school, horse riding was early, and then every sport once I got to high school.
You went to public school, you would have hated private school people like Johnny.
No, not necessarily.
I
Do they
never-
have private school in New Zealand?
Yeah, there's a few.
I never had a horse.
You never had a horse?
No.
You are a horse, apparently.
But it's interesting. I think mum and dad gave everything. We weren't really well off, but on the farm, I think we were able to. Everything went through the farm, and mum and dad gave everything or did anything for us to be able to do our sports. So me and my sister rode horses, and then my brothers rode motorbikes, and sort of they did everything for us to be able to do those sports. And then also, I think the joy of being in a public school in Southland of New Zealand, playing sport wasn't that expensive. Your school fees were a $50 donation every year. And so we weren't having to put $50,000 into school fees, so you could put it into your sports and the home life and everything like that.
Well, Johnny was at the private golf course at 20 grand a year with $4,000 clubs. This is a great story. So when did you realise that you were actually quite good at sport? Just sat there and went, hey, I'm not average. I'm quite good. You still haven't?
Yeah. To be completely honest, it would have been in the last few years.
Really?
Yeah. Through high school, I was never in, I was maybe in the top teams. I was never in the starting lineup. I was never one of the best people in the teams. I was the generalist. I could play every sport, but I wasn't the best at any of them. And so I never had that self-belief that I was awesome at any sports. University, I was never great. I didn't excel at any of sports. I went through a period where I didn't play sports, and then I got back into rugby and running and training and things, but I was never the greatest, and I never had that belief that I was, and it would be recently.
So do you think you're more from the school of hard knocks, work hard, train to
100%.
be really good at something?
Yeah.
Versus Johnny, who just picks up a golf club and he's off zero.
I don't know if that's true, but 100% I'm that sort of person that you work hard, and that comes from my upbringing, being on a farm. Dad was out at the early hours working from sunrise to sunset on the farm and doing everything he could to be able to provide for us. And so I picked up, and because I spent so much time with him, I picked up those traits, and that's how I operate, and I still do. And I do that in both my job and training, is that I might not be the most talented, but I will be the hardest worker in that room, and I will not leave a stone unturned, because got to be done.
I reckon that's got to go on your dating profile, farm girl. I reckon that would be really good. You'd look not so what's the word? I don't know. English is my second
Farmer
language.
wants a husband.
Yeah, just not so intimidating. Like, hey, farm girl, come good. Oh, that sounds like a porno. When did you realise that you were really good at sport? Like, when did it hit you and go, hey, I'm actually, because obviously you're
Yeah.
very good.
I remember at school cross country in grade 3. Won my race, and my dad was there, and like I won by quite a bit, but I didn't do any training. Like, I don't think you do any training when you're in grade 3 anyway. But yeah, I won by like, you know, an oval, and yeah, that's my first memory of like the elation of sport, of winning, not just getting a ribbon for something.
And who are you more like, your dad or your mum?
Oh, I've got both of them, and it drives me up the wall. I've got my dad's isolationism, if that's is that a word.
It is now.
He would be more than happy to lock himself away for a period of time to like just work his absolute tits off. I've got my mum's. Both my parents had incredible work, or have had. My dad passed away a few years ago, but they've got incredible work ethic. And I've got parts of how mum handles her work in me, where she'll work, you know, Monday to Sunday, and be really happy for it. She won't see it as a chore. With Dad, he was quite a creative as well. He was a marketer / salesperson, but more generally just a creative, and that's where I've got my kind of creativeness from. So I think there's bits and pieces from it. I probably look more like my mum, but they're both incredible parents, and I think I've just taken the good parts from them. There's definitely some traits that come through that triggered me on both sides that I just now look at and just go, fuck, you're doing the same thing.
Any regrets of your dad?
Yeah, I have to thank Kelly, my wife, for giving me far less regrets later in life. But kind of speaking to those things that used to trigger me, like I remember sitting in a restaurant, and my dad had quite a big ego, and that's probably the one thing that you know, like I would steer away from, and just, you know, probably caused a bit of a fractured relationship later in life, or during my younger years as well. But we would sit in a restaurant, and, you know, he used to travel a lot to Japan, so we used to go to Japanese restaurants all the time. And there was this place on the Gold Coast called Sapporo that we must have gone to like once a week, and he used to treat the waiters as like pieces of shit. And he would like yell out, and like if there was like one little thing that would pop up, he'd be incredibly rude with them about. And I used to just sink in my seat every time it happened, like just be so embarrassed, and then just shut down from like both that dinner and then just like for the days that go after it. And I swore to God that I would never ever ever be that person. And I don't think I am. I don't think I'm ever close to that. I think I treat people with a lot of respect. But it took me those little things, like his ego, like really challenged me, and how he used to deal with people. So much so where I would pull back, and like, you know, when he loved Kelly, absolutely adored her. So he kept that relationship quite close. But as he was given 3 months to live back in 2019, and he survived another 4 years. And it was really over those 4 years that we probably got a lot closer. But yeah, there's no real regrets. But it's just, I'm glad that Kelly was there to like kind of make me see the positives in him rather than the negatives.
That's amazing. I love it. Katie, mum or dad, who are you like?
I'm close. I don't know. I'm probably similar. I've got traits of both of them in me. I'm closer to Dad, and I'd like to think I'm a lot more similar to Dad, but I've got Mum's stubborn side of things, and just so that's probably a bit of both, but more Dad with that streak of stubbornness from Mum.
I can see that. All right, quick one. Strengths and weaknesses. Give me 2 of each.
Ooh.
Who's going first? Do you want a minute?
No, I'll have a crack.
Two strengths.
Two strengths is I can. I'm incredibly creative, but I think I'll figure out how to do something. So that will be like learning new programs, learning new say in the last week, like there's been a lot of tariff discussion within like kind of the sector that I'm in and how you navigate that. And so like you kind of have to become a borderline expert in navigating tariffs and, that global situation. That's a really probably bad example, but I think I pick up stuff quite well.
Mm-hmm.
Other strength, I would probably put sport up there, but that's more from the perspective of like that's given me a good gateway into a lot of different relationships. So like I can go and play golf with anyone. I can run with anyone, and I think that's kind of a great networking tool. So sport just generally would be a strength. From a weaknesses perspective, I'm incredibly bad at showing people how important they are to me.
Okay.
And I obviously don't mean it. And for those that know me, should hopefully attest to that, is that I can lock myself away. I can be really quiet, but that's the way that I guess work through stuff and figure stuff out. Kind of alluding to one of my strengths. I need that kind of isolation. But as a result, like I'm notoriously bad for replying to text messages, notoriously bad for returning phone calls.
Yes.
And yeah, I just think, for those people still in my life, like they've got a lot of patience. And it's hard for me to kind of justify, but that is who I am, I guess. And that's how my brain works. I think there's probably a little bit of an escape of, like anxiety of like being pulled out of like the thing that you're working on and like any other disturbance that causes me anxiety, because that's kind of, that's my moment to work through shit. But the collateral damage is other people.
Another one? One more?
Fuck, there's probably 5 in that first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I had someone, one of my employees tell me the other day that I'm so awkward around extroverted people.
I wouldn't have picked that.
And I was like, my God, I just want to like swear at you right now. And I think I did. But yeah, that's kind of, I wish I was not awkward.
Okay. Katie, you've got 3 minutes.
I would say one of my strengths is my work ethic and that ability to be able to just lock into something and just work tirelessly to be able to be good at it, and not even to be good at it, but to feel confident in that. Is probably one of my strengths. Another strength I would like to think is my kindness and my personality and sort of love that I can give to people, that especially like my friends and those people around me, is another one of my strengths, and I'd always like to have that. Weaknesses, I think one of my weaknesses, almost similar to Johnny, is around that awkwardness or that anxiousness that I get around people and in situations that I'm not confident in. I'm the sort of person that in an environment that I don't know, or if I'm around people I don't know, I will shrink to half my size and I will want to hide in the corner. And that just is a weakness that I find. Another weakness, I had one and now it's completely gone from my brain.
Burpees?
Yeah, burpees.
No.
I reckon it would be so my organisation and my personal life. So in my professional life and working and training and all of that, I'm super organised, diligent, have plans and everything. But when it comes to my personal life in terms of plans of holidays or financial and all of that, I'm just super unorganised and unplanned and chaotic. So, yeah.
So, if we called someone close to you, both of you, you think they'd have the same, say, about the same strengths and weaknesses?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's do it. Who wants to go first?
I'm just trying to think
It's
who's gonna
very
be.
early.
Yeah.
Well, who are we going to call? Oh, how about I go you first, Katie?
Yeah. Who have you got?
That's a surprise.
Angus.
Oh,
No. Riley Smith.
oh, you've sort of given it
James
away.
Thomas.
Let's see if we can get them. Can you hear it?
James Thomas, marathon finisher.
Oh, Mr. Thomas, welcome to Joe Blow. You're finally onto the show. You're really dying to get onto the show, and we're going to give you a little opportunity here.
A little tester.
Are you awake?
Yeah, I'm just having a tea at my grandma's house.
What are you wearing?
Crocs,
Naked?
jumper, and then nothing on the bottom.
Oh, how good, covered in oil. We've got the lovely Katie here.
Can you
And
hear me?
How's the legs, KB?
He can't hear me. Oh, yeah, can you hear me? My
Yep.
legs, I feel phenomenal. I'm good as gold.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't feel too sore actually.
mate, you look like my age when you were doing the last 10K.
Oh mate.
Once you get some
Sounds
salt in your
awful.
system and you feel a lot better, you're good as gold.
Hey, mate, Katie's told us her strengths and weaknesses, and I don't believe them. So I thought I'd call someone close to her to tell me what you think her strengths and weaknesses are.
How long you got for the weaknesses?
We've got to get to a park run that I'm doing sub 20 minutes, but you've got about 3 minutes. Jimmy, give me some strengths.
Strengths of Katie Rock. Obviously, first thing that comes to mind is everyone probably sees it, and I guess you got to be at the level she is, just like her work ethic.
Wow.
She's probably the hardest worker in any room, so always there, giving her best. But outside of the gym, I think one of her best strengths is just how kind she is to all the people around her. I think that's what draws people towards her. Just so kind, easy to be around.
Did you pay Jimmy before this?
And
Mate, you've got the first. She that's the two she said.
no, she didn't.
Yeah, she did. We've got
100%.
work ethic and kindness, and the kindness, I was like, that's rubbish. But that's
So,
phenomenal. If
yeah,
you can get her weaknesses, we'll give you a prize.
Oh, can I come on the show full time?
Yeah. We need a video guy. This morning was a bit of a nightmare. Guy's still on holidays.
Weakness, probably just being a bit too hard on herself. I think she has such high standards, so she lets things get to her a lot, which kind of can impact some sides of her life. But when I was kind of thinking about this, I was like, yeah, that's a weakness, but it's also just shows how much she actually cares about what she's doing. So it's a weakness, something to work on, but it's
Something to work
not
on,
the end of the
Katie.
world.
What about
Something
one
to work
more?
on. Weakness?
Good-
I don't know. I really
bad
struggle
kisser?
I wouldn't know.
Goodness.
Can't count reps.
Fair.
I still managed to.
Always jumping down one rep early.
I still always manage to lose workouts to you, even though I can't count my reps.
So you can't get a second weakness. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's just kind of. We just hang out in friend environment and also gym environments. We both just love doing. So I don't really get to see her at work. So you might have to bell Gussie in for something like that, or.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Jimmy. They were really nice.
Thanks, Jimmy. She's got a big smile on her face. You've just made her day. Well
What
done.
was your weakness?
What's that?
What did she say her weakness was?
She said she gets anxious in large crowds and always goes into the corner for a cry to hide. And then she said
Unorganized in my
very
personal
unorganized
life.
in her personal life.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And she
Well,
said
you're
she
very organised, Katie Rock.
falls for guys too quickly on the first date.
Yeah. He'd over heels immediately.
All right, Jimmy. Well, thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks for your time. We'll get you on soon, mate.
See you guys.
See you, mate.
See
Bye.
ya.
Wow. That's incredible.
That's good. What about you? This will be interesting. Who are we going to call?
Who have you got in your phone book?
I got Kelly. Will she be up?
Probably not. You've got Kelly.
Of course I have.
dear.
Kelly, you still at my place?
How have you got Kelly?
Yeah, you've got Gussie.
Oh, Gussie! Gussie, welcome to the show.
Right, who's on? Who do I
Oh,
have?
we got Katie and Johnny,
Oh,
and now
Johnny,
we've got
that
you.
prick.
Johnny is.
We've got a park run, so can we get this over?
Yeah, we've got to get this quickly. But you, we're going through strengths and weaknesses of Katie and Johnny.
Mm.
Jimmy Thomas just did Katie, and he got 50%. We've got 2 strengths and 2 weaknesses of the great Johnny. Give us 2 strengths, mate. You know him pretty well now.
Shit, mate. Can we start with 2 weaknesses? That's probably easier.
Yeah, you've probably got a few of those. Go the weaknesses.
Listen, in terms of weaknesses, pretty much everything that isn't running.
Oh.
No, joking. Matt, I think you're probably too much of a harsh critic on yourself. And, you know, I'm much the same in a way. So I think that's probably, as much as it's a gift, it's also a curse because you're a great bloke. You're doing some great things. So I think you got to dial that in a little bit. Another weakness is probably the fact that sometimes you don't know when to stop, take a breath. Again, it's probably very similar to myself, and hence the reason why we get on so well.
This is not about you, Gussie, all right?
Yeah, but mate, you know, I make everything about me. That's the Gussie way.
I can't wait to hear the strengths. Are you going to struggle with these?
Strengths, mate, you've got a huge heart. You know, I've only known you for 8 months, but you know, you're constantly reaching out to see whether I'm okay. If you think I've had a bit of a down day, or helping me move house by lending me the van. So I think that's a beautiful strength. And second to that, you're very, very determined, you know, with your training and obviously with your business as well. So again, that determination is what probably makes you get up every morning and do what you do. So hopefully that gives you a well-rounded answer there, boss.
That's awesome, mate. And just a quick one before we go. If both of you at your peak powers, who wins High Rocks?
Gussie.
That's not even a question.
Gussie.
You? By how much?
Yes. It's fucking Gussie, mate. Country mile.
By a country mile.
And for those who don't know what a country mile is,
All right, Gussie, thanks for your time, mate.
guys, take it easy.
Cheers,
Love you
mate.
all.
Hooray.
Bye.
All right, we're going to have to wrap this up.
All right, we've got to wrap it up. I did another one, but I'll bring it in next week. Thank you, guys. That was awesome, and we'll see you in a week.
Bye.
Bye.